Hi everyone, welcome to another wonderful episode of Pay It Forward. Thank you so much for giving the last episode, the flashback episode, so much love. Now, before we begin, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon so that you are notified whenever new videos are uploaded. As today's guest, it is an honor for me to welcome back one of my dear friends who has not only served as an inspiration to me in my writing journey and in my artistic journey, but also one who is trying to identify herself and is going through a positive transformation phase and hoping to bring the same transformation to others. The star of today's video is our very own happiness coach and podcaster, Kajal Kapur. As I said in my previous video, this episode is the first in a series of episodes that I will be doing on mental health awareness. I hope that this conversation leaves you with a lot of insights on what true happiness really is and how it is not something that we should chase after, but something that we can create on our own. Chalo, let's meet our happiness coach now, shall we? Hi Kajal, welcome to Pay It Forward. It is so nice to have you here. For everybody who is watching this, I have already done an episode where I talk about Penmancy, her writing venture, and I talk about all the magic that Penmancy is doing. I'll link that video right here and you can check out that video. But today, we are not going to talk about Penmancy as such. We are going to talk about Kajal and all of the positive things that she can bring to the table. So as you all know, I talked about this in my last video. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And to this effect, I just wanted to shoot some videos talking about mental health, and I wanted to talk to people who are working in this field and have started working in this field, and to people who have suffered through depression and everything. So to that effect, this is our first video for mental health awareness, and I hope that this series picks up and a lot more people join in this venture.
Thank you so much for having me here, Monica. It's actually a privilege that I'm back here for the second time. I'm really rearing to go and talk to you about the topic at hand, and I'm really glad that there is something of value that you thought that I could bring on.
Honestly, I think there is a lot of value that you can bring because, considering our relationship in the past and everything that you have done for me, I am 100% sure that this is something that, you can definitely add value to. And so let's get started.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Kajal? What do you do? So that our viewers can get to know you.
Okay. As you can see, my graying hair, I have lived a long life. Most of my years I've spent as a corporate employee. Even at that point of time, I tried to go ahead and bring in positivity and culture within the team and try to really include a lot of activities which were bonding activities for the team as well. So through that itself, the sense of community was very important for me, even at that point of time. So when Penmancy came along and then we had to build a community around it, it was very important for me to go ahead and create a space which was transparent, which was wherein people could come and talk openly about their fears about writing, their doubts, and they could, kind of bounce ideas with each other without any hesitation. In life as well, we need to have a set of people around us that we can draw energy from, and people who can really kind of motivate us and kind of show faith in our abilities so that we keep growing and moving forward. So I think from that whole thing, the idea came in that I wanted to go ahead and take myself as a person, become a channel so that people can use the energy and then grow forward. So from there on, I think through the corporate journey, through Penmancy, I thought that if I could just go ahead and bind them together, it would help me become a better person, and it would also help the people I align with and I engage with.
Right. So we will go and talk about, how your journey has changed you as a person. Let us understand what does it mean to be a happiness coach? Tell us a little bit about this course that you have done, and what is it really about?
Okay, sure. So through our lives, we have heard the word happy. I'm happy about this, or are you happy with me, or is this thing bringing happiness to me? So happiness is something which is the genesis of everything.
Right.
So if we are happy, we feel energized to do something. If we are happy, we go ahead and create more relationships in our life. If we are happy, we go ahead and nurture our present relationships. So the genesis of life basically comes from the happiness quotient itself. So I think investigating what exactly that germ is that brings in that happiness element in us, that curiosity got me into it. And when I gradually went, studied, and learned from people and read a lot about it, I saw that world over people are actually working so much in this field and so much in this arena, which we are absolutely unaware of. And I thought that, if I can be just one element wherein I could go ahead and contribute, it would bring me happiness as well. Because I do draw a lot of energy from my community, from the people that I engage with on a day-to-day basis. So I think that itself made me approach this certification course. And once I did that, my mentor really helped me understand how it is not going to be something that I'm going to tell other people to do. It is going to be how I'm going to be so that I can serve the others. So that, I think that whole concept and the idea really caught on to me. And I think from there on, the journey starts. I'm just, trying to explore this whole area. But I think it is going to help a lot in the coming years as well, because we all live in our small little silos. If those silos can become our haven, I think we can be more productive, we can be happier, and we can grow ourselves in the direction and achieve our goals the way that we want to. I think that is what is the whole concept about.
Right. When you posted about it, that was the first time that I got to know that, there is this thing called as a happiness coach, or, the whole idea of Happitude as a certification course and everything. So that is really interesting, because so far I have only heard there are wellness coaches, there are fitness coaches. So how is being a happiness coach, different from, let's say, a wellness coach? How would you distinguish between the two?
So wellness is a lot to do with the spirituality element also, wherein we draw energy from the universe.
Right.
But happiness is something that you can cultivate from within.
Right, yes.
So we are not basically saying that the universe is going to help me. I am basically saying that I am going to help the surroundings so that the universe becomes better.
Oh wow, that's so nice. That's so nice. I've always believed that all the energy that we need to help ourselves, to help others, we already have it inside us. I have always believed.
Absolutely.
We already have it inside us. The only thing is, we don't know how to channel it. And that is the thing that frustrates us the most, that we have it inside it, but we can't channel it.
Yes, that is exactly where my quest also began. I knew a lot of things. I had read quite a few things. I am a fan of self-help books. I love and gorge on them, but I wanted to really understand how I can go ahead and channelize all those learnings and basically bring it into my work, so that my workplace also becomes a little happier. There are so many people in the world who go to their jobs and then come home dissatisfied with what they've done through the day. So there is no fulfillment happening over there. So I needed to understand, why is that happening? Why are people uncomfortable with what they are doing? If there is a choice that we have made, we should be happy about it. And how can we go ahead and cultivate that within ourselves, so that at least that element of discomfort should not be there.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
So this is my next question. You have already touched a little bit on it, but I really wanted to ask you, how and why did you feel that you wanted to do this? Because I feel that, everything that we do and everything that we start in our lives is an attempt to understand ourselves, to attain a greater potential for ourselves. So was it, for you, an attempt to understand yourself and be a better person yourself?
Absolutely. I think there was a time when I was actually feeling that whatever I'm saying and whatever I'm doing is not in conjunction with each other. And
Okay.
that was bringing in a lot of dissatisfaction to me. It was actually breaking me inside because I was saying something and I was doing something else. So it's actually a very human trait to go ahead and give advice to people. We
Right.
always tend to go ahead and कोई बीमार हो जाता है तो then we go ahead and say, okay, आप ये दवाई ले लो, आप ये दवाई ले लो, उसको
Uh,
ऐसा हुआ था, उसको ये work किया. So we are very good at giving advice. But
right.
when it comes to us and we want to go ahead and apply it to us, we often miss the mark.
Right.
And it's very strange that the things that we know, we apply them the least with us. And I think that is the gap between our achievement and our aspiration.
Right.
So
Right.
I think from there itself, the question arises, क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ ऐसा? Why am I feeling low when I'm putting in so much of effort, when I'm doing what is supposed to be done,
Right.
market pe ye chal raha hai, I'm doing this, my sensibility says I need to be, why am I dissatisfied then? If
Right.
I'm putting in my efforts and I'm trying to focus on what is at hand, it should not give me displeasure. I should be doing it happily, I should be doing it with comfort, and I should be enthusiastic about doing it. And if I do that, nobody can stop me from growing then.
Right.
So I think that gap which was there was bringing in a lot of discomfort to me. It was making me sad. In fact, I was breaking inside, I was disintegrating, and I was kind of, feeling very lonely in this journey. So I wanted to really kind of understand, why is this happening to me? And when I went to this question, why this is happening to me, the answer I got is, it is not happening to you. You are doing this to yourself, is the answer.
Right. Right. Right.
We always go ahead and tend to blame something. ये situations अच्छे नहीं है, time अच्छा नहीं है, COVID अच्छा नहीं है. We go ahead and tend to, kind of make the problem external. And there could be external influences also which are actually governing. But the answer has to come from within, because the transformation has to come from within.
Right.
I have to make that kind of a change in my life, my routine, my schedule. And then only I can go ahead and, kill those external factors which are affecting or becoming roadblocks in my progress as well. So the answer has to come from within.
I am reminded of like something that happened like a lot of years ago. I remember I used to live in Colaba, and I used to travel by bus from Colaba to VT station to go to my college or somewhere, like decades ago. And there was this small little church on the way, and the churches में usually वो रहता है ना, एक वो quotes वगैरह डालते हैं वहाँ पे, वो Bible के वो भी
Bible के
daily quotes and something. So that was there, and I remember reading it over there that when your external self is in harmony with your internal self, then only then can you be happy. Otherwise, not. And this just kind of reminded me of that, and this is so true, right? There is so much of effort and there is so much of energy that goes into maintaining that external self of ours. And then हम लोग सोचते हैं कि यार क्यों? Why am I not happy? I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing and I'm not happy. Why is that?
Right.
So I want to ask you, how do you feel that being a part of this course, this Happitude course, has changed you as a person? Like how were you before you started, and how are you feeling right now? Like you have finished it and you have learned a lot of things. How has your experience been, and how has it changed you right now?
Okay, I'd like to say that any kind of transformation is a whole lot of work that you put into it, and it's also very time consuming. So I'm right now, I won't say that I have become the person that I want to become, but I'm well on the journey now. It's not something that has happened over a number of years. Of course, there was this certain element of discomfort which was niggling at me and my work for the last couple of years. But this year, at the turn of this year, something just broke down within. I was very, very upset about whatever was happening in my work. at my, in my personal life, in my emotions. I was like very entangled and I really did not know where to start unraveling all this. I came across this person last year and we got chatting about it, and he kind of, told me about this particular course which is there. And at that point of time, I was like, oh, this is not for me. But then, somehow it just stayed in my mind since then. So this year, when I was going through all of this, I did not directly go to that person again. But I took up some sessions, some therapy sessions, wherein, I just kind of really wanted to identify what is the issue. Because there are times when you know that this is the issue. And, in your mind, you make up in your mind that this is what the problem is, and you know how to fix it because it is your problem, right? You know it better than anybody else. So you know how to fix it. But we don't really realize that even when we're out to fix something, we're only looking at from one dimension. And at that point in time, you need somebody to go ahead and look at that issue from another perspective and give you another viewpoint. And I think at that point in time, it became very important for me to go ahead and take somebody else's viewpoint to some third person who was neutral and he did not know me, and the only person I could really rely on was a therapist. So I went to a therapist. I did not do many sessions, 2 sessions. First session, really, I did not really understand what was going on because I was a crying slob in my first session. So I really did not know what I was saying. But, after the mess was cleared and I saw the level, I could see that, from their point of view, this issue is not as big as I'm deeming it to be. I can address it. Not in the way that I was thinking, but possibly in some other way. So I needed a mind switch. And I needed to go ahead and, kind of change the way that I was actually looking at the problem. And I think that really kind of helped. And then I went back to the person I had spoken to last October, and I asked him, what is it going to take? And he said, it's going to take a transformation, but you have to be ready for that transformation. I said, yes, I'll be embracing anything that comes my way. I'm hopeless right now. So he was like, एक बार ये चली गई इस रास्ते पे वापस नहीं मुड़ सकते हो तुम. You can't really go back to the old Kajal then. I said, I'm okay with shedding that persona because I don't associate with it anymore. So I need to be a new person. I need to be somebody I want to be. I aspire to be. Right. So I think that is where this journey has taken me. It's not easy. And, I remember talking to you about this, I think last month when we were speaking, I told you that, I really feel like that pupa in the cocoon and I'm like dying to break free and become a butterfly. Like it is that metamorphosis that I'm actually in the middle of right now, and it's very uncomfortable.
Right. I understand totally. And something that you have said, it just really hits me hard is that whenever you are looking at a transformation, I think the hardest thing that we have to do is let go of who we used to be. Because we have lived with that person for so long, we identify ourselves as them. And whenever change comes our way and whenever we are on the brink of transformation, I think that is the biggest fear. It's not even the fear of the unknown. It's the fear that I will have to let this person who I am right now, I have to let them go to embrace the new thing. I think that was the biggest fear that even I faced when I was doing my therapy sessions, and that is something that I really, really resonate with right now. Because yes, you have to let it go. Like वो सांप जैसे अपनी केंचुली निकाल के फेंक देता है वैसे.
And I really appreciate because you yourself have gone through this journey. You're still in the middle of that journey, and you're still trying to really kind of create the person that you can love completely. I know that feeling, but it is not as easy as just taking off the skin, when the snake. I remember this is what came into my mind when I was actually recording one of my podcast sessions. I just almost breaking down while talking. while speaking on the podcast, I was breaking down, and I think some of one of my cousins called me and it was like, what happened to your voice beach mein? Like, anyways, so that is that. But while I was actually speaking, the thought that was coming to my mind was that throughout our lives, we tend to become the person that we are told to become. Somebody says, oh, you are such a bright person. You become bright.
Right.
Oh, why are you always angry? You become angry.
Right.
So those labels keep sticking on you, and they are so stuck on you over years, they become your second skin. And then when you are on the road to self-discovery, you have to peel those labels one by one. And sometimes you bruise yourself, your skin comes off. It is painful. It is very, very demanding of you. But you've got to do it. Because you are not those labels.
Absolutely.
You can't be the person other people perceive you to be. You have to be your own person.
That's beautiful. And I agree with you that, it's not going to happen in one day. I think I was just editing my previous video for Paid Forward, and Harshita Sharma, that young girl from Kanpur, she said something very, very beautiful and profound, is that, एक दिन में नहीं होगा लेकिन एक दिन जरूर होगा.
जरूर होगा.
It's beautiful.
True.
All right. So moving on to my next question. As a happiness coach, the skill that you have added on to yourself, to your identity, how do you see it helping others? How do you plan on using it to help others?
So I have been approached by a couple of people who had certain questions that they were finding answers to in their own personal life. Whatever best advice out of my experience and out of my learning that I can give them, I have been lending on to them. But it's not all. It's not something that this was a multiple choice question and you take the right answer and you've got it. It's not going to happen like that. It is a journey that you have to take on. It is something that you're actually looking at changing in yourself. You're transforming something inside. So when that is happening, obviously it is going to take a lot of time. How I'm intending to take this forward is I'm trying to get in touch with smaller groups of people where we can go ahead and have workshops together, engage with people, engage with each other to understand what are the pockets of happiness that they can find in their own lives. And because no journey is going to be ever similar, but if we go ahead and share our journeys, we can find something which we probably have not discovered before. It is only going to happen when the whole community comes together and thinks of happiness as a motive to propel us forward. It is not something that you achieve. Happiness is not something that you achieve. Happiness is what you can cultivate only.
True.
So it's not a destination. It is a journey, and it's an ongoing journey.
What does happiness mean to you, Kajal?
So being at peace with myself is what happiness at this point of time means to me. When I can, say completely, with complete honesty that this is who I am, and I'm at peace with myself, is when I'm happy. The other day I was having a conversation with another friend, and I said that, whenever we are thinking too much, whether we're thinking for the future or whether we're thinking about the past, we're normally not happy. When we are thinking about the past, we think about incidents which have given us happiness, of course, but we do go ahead and have so many regrets from the past which we carry.
Right.
ये किया होता तो ये होता, आज ये मैं होती, or whatever. There's so much of baggage that we carry along, and then we think about the future. कि मैं ऐसे करूंगी तो ऐसे होगा. I want to go ahead and plan my life ahead. I have goals to achieve. I have things to acquire. So there are so many things that we also think about in the future. And there is always this element of uncertainty. नहीं हुआ तो क्या होएगा? As if our life really depends on that. No. It is only when we're living in the present and we're living now is when we're happy. जैसे कि मैं तुम्हारे साथ बैठ के चाय पी रही हूँ. I'm happy.
Right.
Because I'm not thinking कि अच्छा चाय पीने के बाद पता नहीं मोनिका what will she talk about me to 3 other people. I'm not going to be thinking, well, if I think about that, I'm going to spoil my moment today.
Right.
Right. So I think being present, attending to your present self is what is going to go ahead and bring us happiness, which is something that we can cultivate over a period of time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes,
सिर्फ
yes.
मोनिका के साथ चाय पी के नहीं खुशी मिलने वाली है.
नहीं, थोड़ी बहुत मिलेगी.
थोड़ी मिलेगी. But repeatedly, if I keep doing that, then you will also get bored, ना? You रोज चाय पीने आ जाती है.
Oh God, I remember when I was very little, मतलब हम लोग अपार्टमेंट में रहते थे तो मैंने पड़ोसी वो ऐसे आ जाते थे कभी कभी चाय पीने के लिए, and I used to always ask my mom कि हमारे घर क्यों आते हैं चाय पीने के लिए, इनके पास चाय पत्ती नहीं.
So maybe she was also looking for that present moment. You know? Yeah. जैसे वही कहते हैं when we're actually changing something in ourselves, of course कितनी बार ऐसा होता है कि I want a break, I want to take a vacation.
Right.
So the vacation is not going to bring me happiness. Being in that vacation, accepting that vacation is going to bring me happiness. So just having that hotel room or being in a picturesque place is not going to bring me happiness. What is going to bring me happiness? When I am available there. Right? When I am embracing that moment, when I'm embracing that vacation, that is going to bring me happiness.
Right.
So I think that जो distance है या जो हम disconnect है हमारा, I think वो plug in करने के लिए we need to go ahead and practice every day. So हम कहीं पे भी रहेंगे, whichever environment we are in, we will flourish there.
Right. This is what my therapist also told me, to practice mindfulness is it's very difficult. It seems very easy. हाँ ठीक है, I'm thinking about the present.
हाँ.
On the surface, it seems very easy, but you try doing it for 5 minutes to be in the present. It's impossible. Your mind is going to go in every other direction than the present. So, this is something that you definitely need to practice because it helped me a lot. So now we are going to do a little pitch of happiness coaching. I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them what you have to offer and how they can get in touch with you. I'll give you the floor and you can start.
My name is Kajal and I'm your happiness coach. What is happiness? Happiness is something that we keep chasing all our lives, not knowing that it is actually within us and we need to go ahead and tap into it. As a happiness coach, I can help you identify those pockets of happiness within you, in your environment, at your workplace, and within your relationships, so that you can make a happier life as well. You can contact me on my Instagram page at Rainbow Hues. I'm also available on phone, the details of which are again on my Instagram page. You can listen to my podcasts on Spotify or anywhere else where you listen to podcasts. And the name of my podcast is Mind Switch with Kajal. I'm your happiness coach. My name is Kajal, and I'd be happy to listen to your stories. Thank you.
So, Kajal, tell us a little bit about your podcast, Mind Switch with Kajal. I've been listening to it for a while now, and I want to know how it came into being and, what are your plans for it for the future?
Okay, so Mind Switch with Kajal was basically, it started off as a conversation with myself. In my mind, there were so many things that I wanted to talk to somebody about. And this came across, and this was a channel where I thought that I could, kind of speak my heart out. Maybe there would be somebody who could understand or connect with it. Like I told you before, there was a switch that I needed to go ahead and turn on. And this was actually one thing that I wanted to do. It had been on my mind, but I did not have the courage to do that because I thought that I'm not good with technology as much, like podcasting is for youngsters and all of that. So I thought nobody is going to ever listen to me. I'm still learning the ropes of it. So in the first couple of episodes, you would see that it was very amateur. I was just grappling with things. Even now, I'm just trying to really understand, pace myself, the breath and all of that. Keeping that aside, the idea of the whole podcast was that I wanted to go ahead and talk about certain aspects of our lives, which we all know about, but we don't give attention to as much. Like, say, for example, being kind, being polite, saying thank you. These are things that we are taught ever since we were like 2 years old. And even before that, actually, even before we could speak, we knew those words, right? But applying them in our life through the years, we kind of forget that because of our own experiences, the way that we've been treated, or the way that our environment is, we tend to forget. But coming back to those emotions or those actions again is something that is very essential for us to go ahead and bring in a sense of self. Saying thank you is not something that we're doing to others. It is just elevating us, saying that I am obliged that this is happening to me. So there is something that I'm getting, and that's why I want to say thanks, right? So it is not something that we're giving out to the world, it is something that we're gaining. We should not shy away from that. So I think these small little aspects that I wanted to talk about and I wanted to share with everybody at large, and that's how the podcast came into being. I do go ahead and intend to bring in more topics that I keep reading about, and I want to share my understanding of those concepts in my way through the podcasts. And I hope that people can gain from it and can, kind of imbibe that in their own life and cultivate a culture of happiness in their own lives as well.
Right. I think it is going to be really, really amazing, because I still remember that episode where you talked about, do you love yourself? It is something that we keep hearing again and again. People keep telling us to do this kind of an exercise or do that, or, feel this about yourself. But it is really something when you say that you stand in front of the mirror and just look at yourself. Do you understand who this person is? Do you like yourself? Do you like all of yourself, or is there something within you that you don't like? That is something, it is so basic, but still we need reminding of it. Every now and then we need reminding, and I think that's where your podcast is going to help a lot of people, and I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you so much, Monica, and thank you so much for having me here and talk about this journey, because this is a transformative journey that I am on. I am discovering myself every day and trying to associate with the new person that I'm becoming. And I'm loving this journey so far.
I'm so happy that you are, because it is going to be so fulfilling and so rewarding. Trust me, after my long therapy sessions and everything, I really came to understand what my needs are and how I have been neglecting them for so long. So it's painful. Yes, it's very, very painful, but then, it's really rewarding.
It is.
All right. So before we wrap up, I just want to ask you if there is something that you would like to tell our viewers. Is there some advice or anything that you would like to speak to our viewers directly?
We've been discussing in this whole session here that, there are so many things which are just so basic in our life. Like you mentioned, looking at ourselves in the mirror. We do it every day. But how many times do we really look at ourselves? Or we go ahead and meet so many random strangers in the lift, in the park, on the road. But how many times do we acknowledge that there is somebody out there? We don't do that. So there are so many things that we've been taught as a kid, which we've forgotten really. I think coming back to those basics is something that will bring us more attention, more sense of love towards ourselves, and that is what is going to go ahead and make us happier in the times to come. Small little aspects like wonder and awe, like children are always amazed about something, their eyes just shine, and when they look at something new they want to know more. So that inquisitiveness, that awe and that wonder, if we can go ahead and cultivate in ourselves, we'll learn more, we'll grow more, we'll be happier.
Right.
So I think those are some of the takeaways I'd want to go ahead and give.
That's beautiful. I am always looking for wonder in my life, and I can attest to it, to everybody who is watching, that even if you kind of just pick any random stuff on the road or in the nature around you, and if you stop and look at it and you can sense that wonder inside you, it's beautiful. There is no feeling like that, and you kind of reconnect to, like you were saying, you reconnect with your child, the child inside you, and it's really beautiful. Thank you, Kajal. It was so much fun talking to you, and you have just kind of enlightened us to a lot of things about ourselves and about how we can create our happiness. It's not something that we need to chase, or it's not something that we need to search for outside ourselves, because it is already there inside ourselves. Thank you so much for telling us all of these beautiful things. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Bye-bye, everyone.
Hello, I'm back. Well, if this episode is anything to go by, I am sure that the upcoming episodes regarding mental health awareness are going to be just as awesome. I agree with everything that Kajal has said in this conversation. There is a lot of stuff out there that can negatively impact our mental health, and we won't even recognize for what it is. And all of this negativity then manifests itself into stress and pain and anguish. Life is very hard. We have to keep at it over and over again every single day, and that's how we achieve true happiness. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for joining us today and listening to us talk about this very pertinent topic. Before you leave, please remember to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next week. Until then, love and light to you. Bye bye. But मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि it's not enough to kind of just be there, attend the sessions, read your books, and then just be done with it. It's not like that.
You have to practice.
Invested in.
You have to be that person, na?
हाँ.
Because that is how you can be your authentic self. ना तुम दूसरों को बोल रहे हो authentic बनने के लिए, लेकिन खुद practice नहीं कर रहे हो तो then it's wrong with it.
Right.
Then you're just a fake baba. तो उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है ना.
And वो नहीं होते कि क्या समोसा खाया था कल, हरी चटनी नहीं खाई थी.
हरी चटनी नहीं खाई.
हरी चटनी के साथ समोसा खाना.
हाँ तो वही. हाँ वही. कल्याण होगा.